Hey, Nathan.
Yes. Just one sec. Brenda's being asked
Nathan?
something. You're talking straight. Very rude. Brenda's not going to get happy quick. She'll start rumpusing everyone.
No, I try very hard not to do that.
Jolly good. But it is you I'm talking to, so I'm in your...
Yeah, space-time is the invariant property, right? Simply distance, the distance is without considering time, that isn't invariant.
I'm not asking what it isn't. Yeah. Distance is easily describable in one of the 3 dimensions that we do actually experience. You've said that that's time. It isn't. Distance isn't time.
In order to locate an object, you need to provide where it is and when it is.
Do I?
Yeah, so that's
no,
4
you don't,
coordinates.
because you only
Yeah,
exist in the present. This is silly. Why do you keep talking?
Of course you exist in the past. Of course you do.
Okay, can you show me that? That's the 3rd time I've asked.
Oh yeah, there are events in which, or observers in which, the past for one observer.
Brenda, he asked you to show him, which means you should have an example ready.
He was detailing one.
Yeah, when particles move at relativistic speeds, the future of one particle can be in the past of another.
Sorry, where does that get shown as an example?
These are fairly standard scientific results that show that the past for one observer will experience, the future.
Brenda, you're blowing it.
Okay,
You're blowing
I,
it hard.
I really don't need any help. Thank you, though. Okay. I'm trying to get you to show me something that shows a 4th dimensional time.
Yeah, it is the coordinates necessary, right, to uniquely identify something, because it simply is an experimental observable fact, right, that for some particles, their future is in another particle's past.
I heard your claim. I'm asking where I'm shown that.
Through experimental observation.
Okay, so what was the experiment called? What was the independent variable? And what was the observed phenomena then?
Well, for instance, when cosmic rays strike the upper atmosphere, they generate muons. The muons experience time because they're traveling very fast. They experience time slower than we do.
It's another way of saying she can't show this. This is just ridiculous. It's all presupposition.
I just told you.
It's ridiculous.
I just told you.
She's not going to show you. She can't.
I just told you. The particle decay, the decay time for muons is slow.
You're describing coordinates of something, and you said it was experimentally valid. So what's the natural phenomena? Is it the observation of muons?
It's the time it takes for a muon to decay.
Shout out to Jason Reed. I agree. Please have Brendan not stop talking. Thanks for the super chat. No. So far you've given us coordinates, but it doesn't demonstrate a 4th dimensional time. And the reason is because it's only in existence in Einstein's mathematics. That's where it exists. It doesn't exist in physical reality. And you know that because he labelled it such. Pseudo Riemannian for space-time geometry is pseudo. It's definitely not scientifically validated. Even Einstein, the man who invented it, labelled it pseudo as a geometry. That's descriptions in maths. That's not anything in physical reality, Brenda.
Oh, so pseudo there doesn't mean what you seem to think it means. It simply refers to it's not a...
I think I've been offered muons. Are they the observed phenomena in the experiment? It's not segue. That's what I was on.
The time it takes for them to decay is longer when they're created by cosmic rays, because they travel at relativistic speeds.
Right, the time they take to decay, how long they decay isn't a dimension, is it?
Time is, yes.
It's like you described how long something decays in a given period. That's not a dimension. That's how long something decays by way
Sure
of a
it is.
description arbitrarily ascribed by us when we deliver the concept that we note as time. When things pass through our known existence, that's how we describe them. But it isn't a dimension.
You're just repeating the claim.
Well, you're yet to show me a pseudo fourth dimension of time.
I did. I gave you the observation that muons take longer to decay
I got that.
when they're created in the upper atmosphere
Yeah, I got that
because
too.
they're traveling at relativistic speeds.
You said it was science, and I said, what's the dependent variable observed phenomena then? Is it muons? No answer. Is it muons? Second time I'm
Observations are
asking.
part of science.
Is it muons that is the quote from you scientific part of it? That would be dependent variable. Is that what the dependent variable is or not?
Right. So observations are part of science.
Yeah, I got it. Observation, muon. So therefore, muon, yes. Dependent variable, Nathan, yes. Or no, not the dependent variable. Which is it? It's the fourth time I've asked.
Yeah, when muons are not traveling at relativistic speeds, they decay much quicker.
Yeah, I heard that 4 times. Is that the dependent variable in this science? Yes or no?
It's not an experimental setup. It's an
So when you said it was
observation.
science, you were just doing what we discussed in the pre-show where we say people who don't have science lie, call things that are pseudoscience and made up garbage and pseudo fourth dimensions. They call them science like you just did. So it's not experimental, therefore not science like you boldly lied about. What an outrage. So when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of what you've actually bullshitted about and said is science, it isn't, making you a liar. So why are you lying to us about it being science when I've already taken it to pieces as pseudo-geometry from Einstein? It's not science. You're a liar. I don't want to talk to this person anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're a liar. You said it was science and it isn't. I don't like being lied to. I don't like me having to ask you 4 times what the independent variable is while you weasel and worm your way around the fact you haven't got one and then tell me it's not experimental, therefore not science, making you an outright bloody liar.
And that's false. Observations are part of science.
We established what science was before this discussion. Independent and dependent variables, causes and effect established through experiments. Not experimental, you say? End of your time here. End of your discussion point. End of your lies that it's science. What part of this aren't you getting? We called you on your lies. When you said it was science, it isn't. Not experimental, therefore, you are a liar when you call it science. No, it isn't. You just need to hijack that term to make your garbage sound more palatable to people who are ignorant. That's all you've done. Now I'm tired of talking to you because you've annoyed me because you've lied about having science. Everybody on this panel understands what it is. We discussed it before this opened up as a discussion about space-time. A pseudo-geometry, not science.
It's not pseudo-geometry.
That's what it's called by Einstein, the man who invented it. That's his label for his geometry of 4D space-time. He called it pseudo when he labelled it. It's a geometry for a start. Pseudo fourth-dimensional space-time is a geometry. Well, geometry is maths. That's not physics.
Does that mean I can't find space-time in the middle of my donut?
It means it's a non-existent geometry invented by a man called Einstein that doesn't have any physics for it.
Yeah, Brenda failed.
Yeah,
I do like
and I would say
behind it.
Brenta is the only one that is trying to say he can describe the time. Nobody has been able to do that, really. We can talk about the philosophy of it, that there's a progression. It's about you're a child, that you grow. That's time from child to adult. That's part of some progression. That's all we can say. We cannot say what time is. Time is a concept. So
Correct.
But But really it is, no, nobody is able to answer this question. Brenda is here trying to explain what it is. It's just hilarious. Thank you.
The only
Well,
point
she hid behind a damn composition fallacy after she was called out for lying and saying that observation is part of the scientific method, therefore it is science. No, that ain't how that works. You can't claim a part of a process to claim the whole process. No. And if she's as smart as she says she is, she should know that. That has to be
She's
deceitful.
being tricky, John. She's trying to be tricky.
Brenda once said that looking at something is science.
Yeah, she
Literally, I was
And there you
like,
have it.
She just did
okay,
that now. That's
I'm
what
looking
she's...
at a door right now. Am I doing science? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, she did
So
that now.
that's who
So
you're
why are we
talking
even
to.
talking to her anymore then?
We're not. We're just
It's a
summarising
shoe.
the end of the discussion. The reason you've got pseudo-Riemannian for space-time as a necessity is because the former notion of mass attracting mass to hold you to a spinning water ball flying through a sky vacuum after taking flat Earth measurements to reify said radial value into a spherical value was debunked by gas behaviour 109 years ago. So then you've got to have a convoluted gaggle screw of fourth-dimensional space-time bending so you can simply move the scale 1. So when you're sat doing nothing, you're not at 1. You're at 0 when you're falling, according to their narrative, with bent 4D spacetime. So 0 is falling. 1 is you doing nothing. Sat there. 1G. It's a nonsense way of confusing people so you can move the scale. So that you can say that perpetual motion around a sphere Earth is 0G. That's it. Why? Well, because you need a force to hold you to a water ball. But gravity's not a force. It's a very complicated fourth-dimensional space-time that holds you to a ball because there's 1G when you're sat doing nothing. That's the only purpose of it.
Yeah, but Nathan, this frustrates me because how did it get by so many intellectual people that this is allowed to be put forth as something when we see it is actually nothing?
Brain people that mass attracts mass in their high school, up to high school education, and then if you go into a scientific, after a high school, uni or college, depending on what country you're in, they'll teach you about bent 4D spacetime in Einsteinian pseudo-geometry. So just brainwash everybody into thinking there's an actual force holding you to a water ball, and then just tell you later, well, actually, that's out of date. It's 4D spacetime. It's not really a force, but 1G. Falling is 0.
So then the globe is the conspiracy.